One of the biggest pieces of advice that I give to every new driver is to try out being a customer so that you understand fully what it means and how you can be a better rideshare driver or gig worker or delivery driver, whatever it is that you're doing, and make even more money. So why is that the case? Why do you learn more? And what are some of the things that I've learned as a customer that I was able to use as a driver to make even more money? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Tyler from the RideShare Guy. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the benefits of first being a customer, or at least being a customer at times, when it comes to gig work, rideshare driving, and delivery driving. So first, I'm going to talk about the benefits I've learned being a passenger that I then took and now make it better for my passengers when they get in my car. So the very first thing, and it sounds very simple, is to have a car charger. So for a long time, my thought was if I were to get in a car and it didn't have a car charger, I wouldn't think it was that big of a deal. I wouldn't have an issue with it. But when I started taking rides, it's always when I'm out of town. So all of the rides that I have to take are when I'm traveling for work or something else and I don't have a car there. It's cheaper to take Ubers and Lyfts rather than to rent a vehicle. So I only have very limited time in a car. That being the case, I'm not going to bring a car charger with me. I'm going to bring chargers that I plug in at the hotel or the house I'm staying at and not have something in the car. However, a lot of times you get off of an airplane, you get in a car, and now your phone has died. I don't know why phones die, or at least seem to die quicker when I'm in an airplane, but they do. Someone please let me know. But regardless, you get in and now all of a sudden your phone is dead, you weren't expecting it, and to have that car charger ready for you is a huge relief. And at this point, most people expect it. In fact, when I didn't have a car charger, I had several people get in my car and say that they thought it was a requirement for drivers to have chargers because every single driver they ever had one. I found some that were on Amazon. It was $10 for a 2-pack. So I had some up front and some in the back, and it had 3 ways on it so that you had, no matter what phone they had, they were able to charge their phone. So it was $10 at the time. Not sure how much it is now. We'll have a link for it, but these chargers were amazing and really simple to do. And it was something that I ended up using on a regular basis myself. And anytime that I was out with my friends, they loved the fact that they all had a charger. So it wasn't just used while I was driving for Uber or Lyft, but it was something that was used all the time, and my passengers absolutely loved it. So when I first experienced that, being from out of town, getting in a car with a car charger, it really made it set in stone the reason that we as drivers need to have those. And again, it costs almost nothing to do. The second thing I learned being a passenger in a vehicle is to always get in the back of your car, either at the end of the day that you're driving or the beginning of the day, and preferably at the end of the day. Here's why. Because as drivers, you're in the front seat all the time. You have no idea what's back there. You're getting passengers in and out all day long, and who knows what they've left or what they've done back there. So I have had some interesting things that I have found in the back. I have found lighters, I've found cell phones, I've found all kinds of things in my car that I later set up and either took back to the person, or if it was a lighter, I just tossed it or used it at my own house, whatever the case is. But you want to make sure that you're getting in the back regularly. Throughout the shift, check it, but at the end of the day specifically, because if they left something like food or they did something that's going to smell overnight, you want to be able to clean it up as soon as possible rather than deal with those problems the next day. So definitely get in the back of your vehicle, check the back of your vehicle regularly, because as a driver, you're always in the front, you're always looking forward, you're not thinking about it, but it's going to be the very first thing that your passengers see. So make sure that it's clean and put together. And so that's something I learned by getting in the back of a vehicle and finding some things that were there and the driver had no idea. So as a driver, make sure you're checking the back regularly. And then finally, the amount of talking that I do. So I can pretty much talk to anyone on just about any subject. I love learning about people. And I love when I get in a car and drivers want to talk to me, ask me where I'm from, things like that. I love it most of the time. Sometimes though, I just want to get in the car and I just want to get from point A to point B, especially if I'm out of town and I have worked a 14-hour day and I'm getting from where I've worked all day to where I'm sleeping or where I'm going to go eat. I just want to sit there in quiet. So paying attention to the passenger. I've seen online some drivers actually have something on the back of the seat that tells passengers, hey, if you want me to be a chatty Cathy, I can do that. If you want me to be silent, I can do that. So in some way, make sure your passengers know, hey, this is your ride, whatever you need. I can be silent. I can have music on, whatever. I can change the music. Whatever the case is, pay attention to the passengers so that they're not just getting from point A to point B, but enjoying the ride on the way there. So those are the things that I learned as a customer to help my passengers out. Now, I do mostly now delivery driving. So what I've learned as a delivery customer to get food to my house are quite a few things as well. So the number one thing is to read the notes. I live in condos or apartment buildings, however you want to word it or think about it. And it can be a little difficult, as we all know, to find places in apartment buildings. So I have very clear notes in the instructions on how to get to my apartment. It explains exactly which way to turn when you pull in. It explains where to park. It explains where my door is. It explains that I'm on this floor, not this floor. If you see this, you've gone too far. At this point, turn left, turn right. It's very, very specific. And yet, drivers always get confused. Why? Because they don't read notes. Now I get it. They're busy. They're driving. I have been on the other side. Obviously, I've done thousands of deliveries at this point, so I understand how much is involved in that. At the same time, a lot of these drivers will message or call you to find out how to get to your apartment when the note is right there. And when you ask them, they go, oh no, I didn't see the note. The notes are there for a reason. And though it doesn't frustrate me as much, my wife gets very frustrated that she spends all this time making sure this note is in there and then they don't follow it. So as a driver, I always look for the notes first, usually before I've even left the restaurant, so that I'm not dealing with it when I'm trying to get into the apartment. I can find out if it's an apartment right then and there, and I don't have to worry about it later. Second thing I've learned as a delivery driver, being a customer, is to pay attention to how doors open. If doors open in, meaning the door comes into the house, then leaving food directly in front of the door is not a problem. However, if the door opens out like it does at my house, and you leave food directly in front of the door, that means I'm knocking my food over, spilling my food to open the door, which means my food could be ruined by me because the driver didn't leave it. And in fact, going back to the first point, I put in my notes not to leave it in front of my door. And I've seen that a lot with other customers as well, not to leave directly in front of door. The reason is because they can't open it. So paying attention to little things like that will make a huge difference, because I have removed tips and everything else because people have not done that. So it's definitely something that as a delivery driver, we want to pay attention to, that I've learned specifically by being a customer. The last thing I learned as being a customer for delivery driving is to have good insulated bags for my food. I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten food to my door that was very, very cold that should have been hot, or that was room temperature or car temperature that should have been cold. So I know as a delivery driver that a lot of times that's the fault of the restaurant. Those typically are places that are like fast food though, which I've never ordered from. But at the same time, we as drivers can do our best, and that really helps. And maybe the people don't understand, don't appreciate, they don't know what you've done, they don't even recognize it. but it makes you feel better. And sometimes it will help people to be able to tip you better. And it makes me feel better because if an order is delayed, I like to tell people, don't worry, once I get your food, I'm going to put it in an insulated bag so it stays nice and warm for you. So just being able to tell them that is really good. So there's a lot of bags that you can get. You can get them from the delivery service themselves. I have a DoorDash pizza bag that I got from Pizza Hut one time, because DoorDash, if you pick up from there, they actually have some bags at some Pizza Huts. I've only found it at one in my area. A Grubhub sent me a bag when I first started driving for them, as did DoorDash. So I've got quite a few of those bags, but I've also spent more money to get things like catering bags or to get pizza delivery bags that are nice and thick and insulated. And you can find them on Amazon. We'll have some links in the description below for you, but definitely get a good bag for food. It's a one-time fee. You can get them for $20, $50. You can go up to $100. I wouldn't, but you can get some really expensive ones. And the little expense is going to be offset by essentially less than a day of driving. So that little bit can make a huge difference for you. And I use them all the time when I pick up food for myself. I put them in the same insulated bag. So again, something that you use not just for when you're working, but also for yourself. So here are some things that I have learned as a customer of these gig apps that we use that I take into putting as working in these gigs. So what are some things that you've learned as a customer? What are some complaints you've had? What are some complaints you have about customers? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one of them. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps. Subscribe to the channel because there's new things that come out every single week that help you make as much money as possible. And until next time, stay safe out there, everyone.